High school football week number 6 as we take a look at another matchup. The James Wood Colonels traveling up to Falls Church to face Meridian. Last week, the James Wood Colonels falling to the Handley Judges on Saturday. As always, joining me, the head coach of the James Wood Colonels, Todd Wilson. And Coach, just briefly looking back at last week after evaluating the film and everything, I know not the result you wanted to see on the board, but still a lot of positives that you can take away from what I saw and what you saw, I would imagine as well. After looking at the film and stuff, what sort of positives, maybe more, that you're taking away from this game despite the outcome?
I told you after the game, one positive was, I feel like our line progressed a little bit in pass pro. I mean, we did try to use a little a quick game. The game plan was to try to get the ball out of Owen's hand a little quicker because we knew they had some, fast athletic guys there on the front, and we hadn't done the greatest job at pass pro. So it was a little bit of getting the ball out quickly, but some of the other things we did in the pass game was a little longer developing. So I thought our offensive line, especially with throwing a kid in there who hadn't really had a ton of varsity reps at all. So with Stuart Wiley filling in for a sick Timber Huff for us. And honestly, Stuart Wiley played the game sick as well. He started feeling sick right before the game started, got sick at halftime, and he just toughed it out and played pretty much the whole game, kind of under the weather as well. So, but he played, I thought, pretty well, and the other, 4 guys up there did a nice job as well.
It's unfortunate to hear he was playing the game under the weather, but having a player who's relatively new that's coming in a starting role for another sick athlete, how does that kind of make you feel that he's willing to go out there under the conditions, whatever he might have been facing just himself, in coming out there and performing pretty well on the O-line?
It's well for him. It's good for him. It's he's a junior. He's a guy that we're going to depend on next year. We got three seniors on that offensive line with Quincy Robinson and Tyler Walters center and Jordan Sweetser. So we're going to depend on Stuart going forward and probably a little bit more as the year progresses as well. He's done really good in the off season. He's a smart kid, so he knows the playbook. He just needs the experience, and he got that on Saturday, and we look for him to continue to progress as the year goes on.
So take a look at a game like this. Obviously, again, not the result you want to see. And you mentioned about the adversity aspect. I'm curious, during practice this week, was there any sort of message, or what are you really preaching to your team this week as you prepare to travel up to face Meridian?
Yeah, we challenged the guys. We obviously didn't like the outcome. Personally, me, we've talked about, wins and losses. If you get beat and you feel like you've put your best effort out there, the team is just superior, faster, bigger, stronger, whatever it may be, you can kind of live with that. I was extremely happy at the way we played the first half. Obviously, the interception, pick six right there before halftime, really deflated the guys. I thought it was that first half was a really good football game. I thought on both sides. I think both teams were doing some really nice things. And unfortunately, the second half didn't go like that. Hats off to Handley, a really good football team. I told you after the game, it's probably going to be one of the better teams we see, the entire season. They're a really good football team. But I just didn't like the way we competed in the second half. The adversity part is, we gave up the pick six right there before we going into half. And at halftime, the demeanor in the locker room was not good. The second half is kind of a portrayal of what the locker room was kind of like. So we addressed that. It's a learning experience, and I think it's going to bode well for our program moving forward with addressing it, talking to the kids about it, and how to deal with adversity, not only in football, but in life in general. So we got to do a better job overall with battling back when things aren't going great for us.
So as we take a look traveling up to Meridian this Friday night, you had Meridian last year at home. Just first and foremost, it's not really that often you're playing a school deep in Northern Virginia, like Falls Church area, up in the higher classification schools. Just your thoughts on that, what you're seeing out of Meridian and how practice is going, sort of preparing for them, and what you sort of want to try to eliminate in a sense.
They're, I mean, we played them last year. They look very similar to what, the style of offense and, style of defense they want to run. It's very similar to last year, double wing. It's a ball control offense. I think last year played them the same week. I think in the films we had of them, I think they had thrown like 8 passes. I think the films we got of them this year, they've thrown, I think, 24, 27 passes. So, they want to run the football. That's their bread and butter. They're going to stick to that if they can. Obviously, some of the throwing comes late in games, or maybe if they're down or things like that. But they want to run the football. They want to eat the clock up. They want to limit possessions of our offense. So really, what we've told the guys is, we got to put the bus ride behind us. We can't get off the bus and try to sleepwalk through the first quarter or so, and then turn it on. So we've addressed that this week. And then we obviously we got to get stops. We can't let them just chew up the clock because, like I said, they really want to limit the amount of possessions we have offensively. And then when we do get the ball offensively, we need to put points on the board. Last 2 weeks, we've moved the ball fairly well against, Kettle Run and Handley at times. We moved the ball pretty well. We just haven't, done the right things when we got down into the red zone. So, this week we have to continue to move the ball, but then get points when we can.
And defensively, how do you sort of prepare your defense that they might be on the field for a long period of time with a more run-heavy offense in a set? We
got multiple guys, especially on the defensive line that we want to rotate in this week if need be. Guys are ready to be able to do that. And the biggest thing is just getting those stops when we need them. There's opportunities for guys to get rest on offense because not all of our defensive guys play offense. So that helps as well. But it's tough to kind of mimic that offense when you don't run it. We're a spread team, so we're not running all the double wings and the motions and things like that in the backfield. So our defense has to read their keys. I think we do a good job of coaching that up. So as long as we read our keys and know our alignment and assignments, I think we're going to be pretty good on the defensive side.
Once again, high school football week number 6, the James Wood Colonels traveling up to face Meridian. As always, the head coach of the James Wood Colonels, Todd Wilson. Coach, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh.